Please welcome to the stage, Andy Shirtliff.
Good morning. As someone who grew up just down the road from here, with a life who's had a few ups and downs and twists and turns, it's an honor and a privilege to be on this stage, speaking with you in this theater and with those of you watching online. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about finding your strength by helping others. I was born to a single mother in Anaconda, Montana. She worked hard to raise 2 kids on her own, but faced with the tough realization that either she could raise us both and barely make it by, or make the tough decision and split us up so we both had a chance. So, facing one of the most toughest, most difficult decisions she's ever had to make in her young life, and with a heavy heart, she chose to place me into adoption. She had faith that there would be parents that would find me, that would take care of me, that'd be kind, compassionate, and supportive. And she knew she wouldn't have to look long in a place like Montana. My soon-to-be mom and dad didn't know if they could have kids. So they sought out to adopt. They looked all across the state, they applied, and they waited. Well, they didn't have to wait long. One day they got a phone call. Their new son was waiting for them. And they came down and picked me up. And so then, my family took good care of me. They were always there for me, putting my needs or my sister's needs and others' needs before their own, which is something that stuck with me. They were always there for me, no matter what they had to do with their job. They worked full-time, but they always seemed to find time to help us with our homework, to go to our practices, play catch, and be at our games, because they understood the importance of play, but also they understood the importance of being present. Now, going through school, I played sports, I got involved in student government, I went to all the dances. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go to college. My parents had always said I should apply myself, and they always encouraged me. However, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go to college. So then one day, my mother heard about a talent scout that was at the mall. I didn't have any plans, so I said, sure, why not? So I showed up. I said, hey, I'm Andy. I guess I want to be an actor. And they said, okay. Next thing I knew, I was being told I should go to California. So 19 years old, that's what I did. My mom agreed to take time off of work so she could help me move down to California. I packed up my little Honda, I said my goodbyes, and I drove away from the only home I ever knew. When I left California, or when I left Montana, as you can see here, it was 30 degrees. And when I arrived in California, it was 110, a little bit different. So as I got there, my mom helped me unpack. She helped me get settled. And I had to take her to the airport, and that's when it hit me. I was going to be alone for the first time in my life. 19 years old, 4 states away. And it hit me really hard as I dropped her off at the airport. I gotta tell you, I was scared shitless. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, what am I gonna do? And he said, Andy, it's okay. Home will always be here. We'll always be here. You're there. Give it a shot. Show them what you're made of. And that stuck with me. And that's just what I did. I drove 2 hours for 5-minute auditions. I networked. I went to parties. I met famous people. I got to see all the sights and sounds. I worked on everything from music videos to commercials, TV shows and movies. However, I wasn't acting. I was going nowhere. I struggled with friendships and relationships. My roommate was a drug dealer. I struggled with money. My phone was turned off. My car was on the verge of breaking down. I had overdrawn my bank account by hundreds of dollars. I was broke as a joke. I struggled with depression. I felt like I was trapped with no place to go. But one day, I received a pamphlet in the mail from the University of Montana. And I said, look at all these people. Look at these people going to school. They look like they're having a great time. The beautiful scenery. And it had something that I had been missing in California or in Tinseltown. True opportunity. So I decided to pack up my little Honda, and move home. So what was I going to study? Well, I had always been interested in politics, but also, it has been said when I was a kid, I may have yelled at the TV when I disagreed with what the politicians were saying. But also, I remembered an American government class. The teacher put a word up on the board. Apathy. What does that mean? It means that you don't care enough to do something about it. I don't know, it's not my problem. But that's not me. Whether it's in my genes or how I was raised, I couldn't just stand idly by if something happened. I had to do something about it. I had to say something about it. I had to join a cause. So I went from studying, I went to California to be an actor, to studying politics. An actor in California to a politician. If the man on TV that I disagreed with sometimes could do it, so could I. So I went to the University of Montana. I studied hard, and on my off time, I was either acting or I was volunteering. I was acting in local commercials, I worked on an independent film, and I was starting another. I was volunteering. I got to get involved because I didn't know anybody. It was a great way to meet people. And I realized I could do something good. So then, I also at night, I worked as a waiter. I learned that from being an actor in California. So I worked and I got to be around people. I enjoyed it. I got to meet new people every day. I got to learn how to interact with folks. The people I worked with were my friends. The guests that came in made it a great place to work. Until one day, I got sick. I noticed there was this difference. I just felt like this wash of cold, just the wave of cold wash over me. And I didn't know what was going on. I felt like I was achy and sore, like I'd just gotten a car wreck and thrown into the lake. I felt weak and hollow. My joints were sore. My muscles ached. My hands, I looked at my hands and they couldn't even move. They had gotten swollen and I couldn't even make a fist. I laid awake at night, sleepless, confused, not sure what the heck was going on with my body. Tossing and turning, I ached. I couldn't even sleep. I tossed and turned, not knowing what was going on with my body. And so the next day I went to the doctor. And they did blood tests. They checked my vitals. And they were just as confused as I was. So then I went to a specialist. They ran even more blood tests. Checked my vitals. My skin was so tight because of what was going on. When they tried to put a needle in my arm, it had a difficult time getting through my skin. And I thought, oh my God, I'm bulletproof. No, but seriously, what is going on with my body? And the doctors were confused. They didn't know if it was scleroderma, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, leukemia, staph infection. They were just as confused as I was. So they put me on some prescription drugs. They didn't know what it was, and so they loaded me up with chemotherapy drugs and steroids. It took me from being me to a person who only had 3 gears, to be glad, sad, or mad at the drop of a hat. These drugs, if I wasn't at work, I'd be doubled over on the couch in pain or in nausea. So the only thing I could do was focus on my schoolwork. So I could study hard, I could graduate, and hopefully find a job that would cover me, that would have health insurance. Well, they finally found out what it was. Eosinophilic fasciitis, also known as Shulman syndrome. When they found this out, that's when the insurance company dropped me. And so when the insurance company dropped me, I had to look for that job. And I did some more research about what eosinophilic fasciitis was, also known as Shulman syndrome. Found out that it's really rare. Found out that there's only 250 cases that have been diagnosed since 1975. And so luckily, in my last semester of work, I found a job, one that had health benefits. And ironically, this job was to talk with people about their healthcare stories, to talk about dealing with doctors, dealing with insurance companies, dealing with medical bills. I said, hey, that's just like me. So this job allowed me to go all across the state, talking with people, sharing our stories. I went from Glasgow to Glendive, Lame Deer to Wolf Point, Billings to Livingston, and all points in between. I got to hear heartbreaking stories of what people have been going through. I felt really bad about complaining about losing sleep over some of the stories I had heard. And then in these travels, I learned that my illness, it wasn't meant to punish me like I had thought before. It was meant to teach me. It was meant to inspire me. It wasn't meant to keep me down. It was meant to show me to be more understanding, to learn from other people, to learn those lessons. So I vowed from this point forward that I knew my calling wasn't show business or politics as usual. No, I wanted to serve people. I wanted to support them, encourage them, and empower them. To show folks what they're made of. So, last year on this stage, we talked about defining the last best place. What does that mean? It's the slogan for the state of Montana. It's also like living the American dream. It means something different for all of us, whether it's starting a home, building a home, starting a family, or being a successful business owner. My job now consists of sponsoring, supporting, and promoting Montana's entrepreneurial ecosystem. I help startups and entrepreneurs follow their dream, to help find that strength within themselves, to show them what they're doing really does make a difference. I also do it in my off time, where I try to help people find that what they do does make a difference. Whether it's that girl who gave up her kidney to a family friend who desperately needed it. She didn't think anything of it. She said, anyone would have done that, right? But to that family, it meant everything to have one more Christmas with that dad. Or for that political organizer who worked on various campaigns all across the United States and in Montana, who got burnt out, who lost his way. And he moved here to Whitefish and rallied the community in the name of love against hate speech. He did it because he thought it was the right thing to do. And in return, he found his calling. Now, how do you find your path? I had no plan, no goals. I took a path that took me all the way to California. It took my life falling apart to find what I wanted to do, and I found my path. How do you find yours? You can find it through service, by helping others. You can find your strength in helping others find theirs. That's how I found my strength. I realized that I found purpose in helping people. I found my strength and while helping others find theirs. I found my path guiding someone down theirs as well. So I ask you to be brave. Follow your dreams. Follow that path. Don't be discouraged. Follow that dream of yours. Nothing can hold you back, not even a few wrong turns. Be patient. Don't be discouraged when sometimes that path that you take isn't the life you want, and that's okay. Find a good, worthy cause. Be bold. Step outside of your comfort zone. Support other people, helping them find their way, whether it's a good cause or a campaign or whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be big. It can be a community garden. Shoot, it can even mean saying hi to a stranger on the street. Grow. These things can help you grow, but also you got to tend to the roots and realize and focus on what's important to you. In my life, it's my friends and family. Like the Chinese proverb says, when the roots are deep, there's no reason to fear the wind. So imagine a world. Now, imagine your world. In your world, where you could overcome anything that life throws at you. Finding the strength to persevere in other people. Because, folks, life is like a 12-round championship match. Some rounds you win, and some rounds you lose. You're going to take some hits, but you're going to get back up and keep moving. So now, get back out there and show the world what you're made of. Thank you, and may the 4th be with you.